So those team results coming in then, and it was Norwich City with the win on the junior women's side, AFD in second, and Tonbridge taking the bronze for the under-20 women's race. Fantastic reward for those Norwich girls, working so hard together at the front, completing the team with a gold medal at the end of it. So the senior women are off for the 90th English Cross Country Championships. 8K for these women. It's the longest race of the day so far. And there are 1,060 entrants down today. That's something special, isn't it?
It's good numbers, and that's what 1,000 people running in the same direction looks like. What a sight. Bolesworth Castle in the background, and the lake, which was, as I mentioned earlier, it was dug in 1790, so second history lesson of the day. It's probably fair to say, Philly, that you'd back your AFD girls to take the team win here.
Oh, I mean, I've got to. There's a great history of bringing this title home with us. The last time I did the national cross country, we were in that spot, so I definitely back the AFD girls to do that again today. Won't be without a fight though. If Charnwood can turn out all of their top athletes, Gemma Steele winning the Midland this year. Also got the Tonbridge girls to fight against. Leeds City will have some good athletes up there as well. There'll definitely be a battle on the team side of things.
Well, Charnwood's an interesting one. Down on the entries, we've got Gemma Steele, won this title a couple of times, European Cross Country Champion in 2014. I can already see her out on the course. Also, Samantha Harrison. She's down on the start list, but I don't think we can see her as yet. And if she was running along with Hannah Nuttall, that would be a great team for Charnwood. But they won the cross-country relays back in November, so but as I'm a big Gemma Steele fan, so I'd love to see her come back and take it again.
Yeah, it's great to see Gemma Steele making a bit of a cross-country comeback this year. She's definitely a name to contend with in the years gone by. She's run for Great Britain numerous times on the roads and on the cross-country, and it's great to see her back at the front end of these races after winning the Midland Champs this year.
Well, it's already starting to stretch out. I'm trying to pick out a few names and numbers. We've got a Hallamshire Harrier athlete at the front. See Julie Emerson of Coventry Godiva in there as well, 12th at the National 12 months ago. Silver medalist behind Gemma Steele at the Midlands in January.
I think that Hallamshire athlete, it looks like there could be two of them right at the front there. One of them is definitely Philippa Williams of Hallamshire Harriers, coming first at the Northerns this year, and it looks like we could have a bit of a rerun of the under-20 women's race. Two girls from the same team driving the bus at the moment.
We've got about 12 athletes in that leading group, although it is a bit stretched out, and this is a sight, isn't it? Spectators jogging across the course to keep in view. Well, 8 kilometres, it's 2 laps. That's what we have them on. And they do 2 laps of the full yellow and full red course. So they're at a pace at the moment, already stretching away towards the red part of this course. Well, we did have Jess Warner-Judd down on the start list, but it doesn't appear that she's competing.
No, I think you'd be able to spot Jess pretty quickly if she was in this race. She'd definitely be in that front pack. She's got a very distinctive running style. No national cross country for Jess Judd today. Perhaps opens it up a little bit.
Yeah, no Jess Judd, no Sam Harrison. We know if Louise Small is racing.
Haven't seen her yet, but she's not in that lead pack. Tell you who is in that lead pack though is Sarah Aston, who is in great form at the moment, the Belgrave athlete. Ran at the Commonwealth Games last year. She's having a great season at the moment, is Sarah Aston. Rebecca Murray up there as well for Bedford and County. And that's Olivia Mason as well, I can see just behind Gemma Steele there with the black arm sleeves on. Phoebe Barker, Tonbridge, sitting in around 6th position at the moment. And that looks like it could be Philippa Stone just off the back of that group.
Well, they're just starting to stretch away down the red extension part to the course.
Olivia Mason, who's in that group for Border Harriers, running for Leeds Uni as well. She was 14th at the Bucks Cross Country Championships this year.
Got a few athletes just dropping off the leading pack here. We're down to 7 or 8 now. This first lap starting to stretch it out. It's an honest pace at the moment, Philly. Tough to go with.
It is, they're still working together, I'd say. That group up at the front, no one looks hugely uncomfortable. Rebecca Murray, who's up there for Bedford and County, she's got great cross-country pedigree. She made GB teams for the World Cross Country in 2017 and the Europeans 3 years in a row from 2014 to 2016. Her best finish at the National so far is 6th, so she'll be looking to better that today and maybe even get on the podium.
Well, we did perhaps expect to see Georgia Taylor-Brown, 4th placer from 2022, 4th placer from 2019, 4th placer from 2018 here today, but it doesn't appear that she's made the start line. The Olympic and Commonwealth gold and silver medalist in the triathlon.
We've also got Neve Bridson-Hubbard in there for Blackheath and Bromley. I think she's one of the athletes that maybe wouldn't mind if there was a short course today, but going at it over 8k and holding her own as well up at the front there with Gemma Steele, Sarah Aston, Philippa Williams.
Well, it is honest. Rebecca Murray in the blue just sitting there at the moment. Gemma Steele just on the outside, and she's in a good position. Holding well.
Phoebe Barker's another athlete with great experience over the cross country in the junior ranks. She's made quite a few GB teams in her time as well. Not sure if Tonbridge have turned out the strongest team today, but she'll be looking to place as highly as she possibly can, regardless, I'm sure. Just dropping off the back of this group, we've got Sophie Tarver from the Wirral AC. She's hanging on. There's quite a bit of a gap before any chase pack, so this medals are probably in this group by the looks of it.
Well, I would just wonder if it does come down to the final 2k and Gemma Steele is near the front of the pack, whether or not, knowing her pedigree and her history of winning this title twice, winning the national cross relays in November, European champion, I just wonder whether that plays into the psyche a bit, because knowing that she's got that credential behind her certainly may put some athletes off.
She's certainly got the experience. There may be a few of the younger athletes in this race that perhaps don't pay that the respect it's due, having known who Gemma Steele is over the years. She's 37 now, so definitely the most experienced at the front end of this race. She strikes me as someone that won't want to leave it too late though. She's much more of a longer distance focused athlete, so if she's going to make a break for it, she's probably going to do it sooner rather than later. She may well have company. And that's actually Lauren McNeil, the Hallamshire athlete, at the front there.
Well, it's interesting to note that the medalists from the last 5 championships are not within this leading pack, so we'll have a couple of new or potentially renewed faces on the podium this evening. Another Hallamshire athlete, Philippa Williams, there with Julie Emerson from Coventry just tailing behind.
Just seen Georgie Grech go through for Herne Hill Harriers as well. She's on really good form this year. She's just detached from the lead group. Also around 16:06 at the Battersea Podium 5k, just gone last week. That's Neve Brown coming through for Aldershot. Kate Estley, that looks like it could be the team.
Was it Kate Estley with the glasses on there, was it?
Yeah.
Love the style, can't beat it. Keep the wind out the eyes, which is a smart move.
Perhaps Jenny Meadows inspired.
Yep,
the
big
glasses on, be your older ego.
Wow, the group just dripping down to 6 athletes now.
Yeah, it looks like that's Phoebe Barker just getting detached and running on her own there. It's really difficult when you find yourself in that position, because there's a long way back before there's any company, and you definitely don't want to go backwards if you can help it. You've got to really try and focus your mind and find a rhythm and believe that you can catch them back up, because anything can happen at this point.
Well, we're coming towards the close of the first lap and the close of the first half of this Saucony National English Cross Country Championship Women's 8 kilometre, the senior women's race. Right, 8th of the day so far, and they've come thick and fast. It feels like it's gone by in a flash, Philly, and this is where the real racing starts.
Yeah, you can just start to see even some lapped athletes on the course, which just shows you how fast these girls are going. And also, I think one of the most beautiful things about the National is that all these women are in one race together. You've got the veterans all the way up the age groups, and something pretty cool about 1,000 athletes starting all together. Just looking at some of the athletes who are looking for a top 10 finish.
Sophie Wallace there, Lincoln Wellington.
It's great to see so many spectators out. 2 or 3 thick at some points. This is coming past the finish. I can see Louise Small there with the blue arm sleeves.
Well, this is the turnaround point, the horseshoe, which has kick-started these ladies' second lap, and it's just trickling, and the tap is dripping, and the athletes are falling off one by one, and we've gone from 12 down to 10, 8, 6, and now we're around about 4. And I think we've got Niamh Bridson-Hubbard just trickling off the back. So Sophie Tarver still just holding in there in the white vest as well. I think she's in a good place. We'll be looking for one of her best finishes ever at the National.
Yeah, I mean, I can see Sarah Astin at the front there, and I think if I had to call it now, I think that's probably where I'd put my money for the win. She looks really strong. She's had such a fantastic year, and she looks the most in control at this point out of those athletes. Gemma Steele's not going to give up without fight. Niamh Bridson-Hubbard's still up there, and that's Lauren McNeil just trying to hang on in 4th place.
Well, all will be revealed. Murray in the blue, 6th at the moment. Well, Steele with Astin at the front, and away goes McNeil. It is these 3 using this downhill section again that we've mentioned already, building the speed and keeping this bus moving forward.
Yeah, shoulder for shoulder coming down this hill, and Niamh Bridson-Hubbard's in a smart position there. She's not fighting for any ground, but she's staying in touch. And it's quite a good spot to be, to conserve as much energy as you can before this really blows apart.
Well, I think the wind as well, being in that position just tucked behind 2 athletes is not a bad place to be at all.
Yeah.
Well, it's a great sight. It's great to see. Laura McNeil has been dropped off those leaders quite quickly, and she'll find herself, I'm sure, just trickling back towards the likes of Tarver and all the way back with Murray as well, so that they can have a bit of a catch-up and perhaps just build off each other's energy into these latter sections.
Yeah, and Rebecca Murray looks like she's hanging on to that pace. She might go past Sophie Tarver in a minute. She's someone that I would back actually to pick up a few places towards the end. She's a strong athlete, Rebecca Murray. She was always one of the ones at the front of those races through the junior ranks and has stayed the course all the way up to the seniors, which is really great to see.
Well, it's interesting to sort of point out that our under 23s and senior women from the Eurocross back in December in Italy, none of whom are here on the start line today, and Of course, we had the World Cross Country champs last week, Abby Donnelly, Megan Keith, Amelia Quirk and Poppy Tank, none of whom are here at Bolesworth Castle in Chester, probably because they are still suffering with jet lag, although some athletes have decided to do it. But we are going to have somebody perhaps that maybe, based on the winter form book, wasn't somebody we were looking at.
Yeah, and they're almost 3 abreast here. Needbridge and Hubbard just pushing the pace. She looks very relaxed. Gemma Steele's got that very rocky running style. She swings her arms. But none of these 3 look like they're struggling at this moment in time.
Well done, Neve. Just the 3 of you now.
They are well clear of the rest of the field. You can just hear one of the spectators there communicating with the girls that it is just the 3 of them, and he is not wrong there, because there's quite a gap before Lauren McNeil from Hallamshire in 4th position.
I think from just a weather perspective, it's going to be really tough on Lauren McNeil. She's out on her own. These 3 athletes, they can mix it. One can take the lead, the other can try and shield themselves for a bit of recovery. They're not going to have long until they get to the finish. We're probably 10 minutes due, but I think for Lauren McNeil there is still a chance she can get back in with a medal, and there's still a chance she can get back with the medal, because in a moment, as you can see, coming in the opposite direction, we have some athletes towards the back of the field, and when you can start to pick off one by one, it just gives you that bit of energy and momentum to keep on top of your pace.
Yeah, absolutely. They can use those lapped athletes as markers to pick off, as you say, and to regain their focus when there's nothing else to look at in front of you. It does look like there's nothing between them at this point.
Well, what do we think? 3k or so, maybe a bit less to go, around about that. They're coming towards the back end of this red section of the course.
Sarah Aston has taken her turn at the front. It's one thing that's great to see with these 3 athletes is that they do look to be sharing the wind, whether that's intentional or not. They are having their turn at the front and taking the brunt of that wind. And it looks like Gemma Steele might just be being challenged. She's hanging on at the moment, but there is a little bit of daylight opening up between her and Sarah Aston and Needbridge and Hubbard at the front.
Well, we don't exactly know, but I think it's around about 2 to 2.5k at the moment. Gemma Steele just getting back in the mix on the outside, just judging that move nicely. This is the danger zone part of the course, because you're away from the crowd, you're away from the energy and the buzz of everybody else. But as we mentioned earlier, they will come back round to some of the athletes towards the back of the field, and they can use that to try and pick off some numbers and get some energy.
Yeah, and it's still really good running on this grass, you know. It has not got churned up at all, so they haven't got that to contend with. There's almost less distractions, if you like, and they're just focusing on the position that they're in and the part of the course that they're at.
Exciting. I can feel this race bubbling. The pan is just being turned up a notch from Simmer.
Yeah, and I get the impression that at some point someone's going to have to make a break from this group. You really couldn't call it at the moment. This is where they're going to have to just be a little bit careful as they come past the lapped athletes. It's when you throw a corner in the mix and 2 or 3 athletes at once that things can get a little bit hairy.
Well, they wouldn't have experienced this type of volume of athletes at their county or regional championships. It's only when you come to the national do you ever get to see this many, over 1,000 athletes on the course at once, and it's something you have to learn to manage, because these athletes, they're not all on one side. It's not like a track where you can easily go around somebody. You are bobbing and weaving in and out of them, and it's a challenge, it's an experience.
Yeah, for sure. And I think for some of these athletes that are, you know, at the back end of the race, it's probably quite motivating to see how fast these girls are coming past them at the front end of the race. You really can brush shoulders with the girls that are going to be standing on the podium, which you don't get in many races.
I'm trying to judge based on their facial expressions who I think is just feeling that bit fresher, and I don't think I can call it. I think it is so close. I would say marginally Sarah Astin, but I think she's a bit of a silent assassin. She's got no poker face, and it's difficult to see. Who could call it? On a knife edge.
Yeah, it's tough. And I've trained over the years at various times with Sarah Astin and Niamh Britton-Hubbard, and they both have a surprise up their sleeve at times. Just as we say that, it looks like Sarah Astin and Gemma Steele are pulling away from Niamh Britton-Hubbard at the front. 3 might be down to 2. I wouldn't count her out yet.
Well,
putting a gap on her.
Edgy stuff. Steele, Astin edging away from Britton-Hubbard, and there is nothing to choose between them at the moment. I hate to talk about an athlete's age, but 37 years of age, the experience, the quality that Gemma Steele has in her locker, a resurgent form. She's the Midland champion, she's the county champion, the national cross-country relay champion. She's won here twice before. After a 9-year hiatus, can she get back and do it again? Sarah Astin is not going to let her have it her own way. This is the tough uphill section. Oh, Steele just taking a bump. Well, we said it was going to be a challenge. Steele just needs to stay true on the course here. It looks more churned up around here, doesn't it, Philly?
It does, yeah. I think maybe this is the clay section of the course. We've had lots of athletes run through there, and it's perhaps starting to get a little bit sticky. I think perhaps catching that athlete might have just put Gemma off a little bit at that moment. She's starting to regain her composure, try and catch up with Sarah Astin.
Less than a K to go. It's all hotting up. Astin with the lead from Steele. Steele just took a bit of a knock, and well, you lose half a stride off your balance and it really knocks your rhythm, doesn't it? It takes time to build that back up.
Yeah, it sometimes just slips your focus as well, and you've got to bring yourself back. Completely forget about that. The race is in front of you, and Gemma's got plenty of experience in that. That's exactly what she's doing. But Sarah Astin's going to be twisting the screw now, winding it up. She has got track speed, running over 5,000 metres for the Isle of Man at the Commonwealth Games last year.
Sarah Astin looking to go better than her 13th last year. She's going to get amongst the medals, but which colour will it be? Gemma Steele surely not going to let her have it all of her own way.
She was around 8:56 over 3K last year on the track, Sarah Astin, so she's got that track speed. If Gemma Steele wants to get one up on her, I think she's going to have to push it from here.
Astin looks relaxed, just wipes her face. Steele on her shoulder now. She's clawed that marginal gap back, and we have around about 400 metres to go as they just veer left in a few moments. There is nothing to choose between them. Astin digs deep. This is where most people have made their break. Steele, can she hold on? It's a meandering uphill climb. You can see as they head towards that Sacconi arch, which marks the finish. Is Steele just eyeing up a move here? It's tight as they twist round, and they've got athletes to overtake as well. Well, it's hard to see from this angle. I think it is still Astin in the lead. Steele biding her time perhaps.
Yeah, she's gone to the arms. You can see that she's really trying to pick up her tempo. Coming into the closing, maybe 150 metres at this point. And Sarah Astin has got a bit of daylight on Gemma Steele.
Well, Sarah Astin has dropped the hammer. with 150 metres to go. You can see the wind is blowing here at Bolesworth Castle. And Sarah Aston has looked so composed, the poker face throughout this race. She's looked efficient, she's looked controlled. Gemma Steele could have had it. Sarah Aston has been dominant in this final 400 metres, and the Belgrave Harrier is going to take gold at the National at Bolesworth Castle for 2023. What a win, what a run. Her best ever finish, and Gemma Steele sublime for a silver medal.
And what a race as well. I think they'll both be pleased with that, considering how hard they worked together throughout. Niebritz and Hubbard just coming in for the bronze there. Great race from her.
Wow, that was superb. That was a good race.
It's a great way to run it, working together for the most part, and then keeping us guessing towards the end there.
There was nothing in it, was this? The final 100 metres is that Lauren McNeil comes across the line, and here is Rebecca Murray, and I think just behind her, Sophie Tarver coming through. We've got Philippa Williams behind her. We're still making up the top 10. I think that is Julie Emerson coming through for 7th of Coventry Godiva, bettering her 12th last year. That's a good finish for the Midlands silver medalist.
It's a great second half from Philippa Williams as well. 2 Hallamshire athletes across the line. It's a strong team start from them.
And I think we just have to keep an eye out on some of the finishes here. We've got I think that's Kate Holt from City of Stoke as well. Always high up at this level.
Olivia Mason just crossing the line there.
Hallamshire Harriers with their 3rd athlete across the line just now.
I think that's a Charnwood athlete I can see there as well.
Yeah, Sophie Wallace, I think.
Yeah.
Well, we are trying to pick faces out of nowhere. I think I can see another.
There's Louise Small just finishing there for Aldershot. Phoebe Barker, tough second half for her.
Well, I think it is absolutely fair to say that was a belter of a race, Philly.
Great run from Sarah Aston.
I mean, if you look at her record over the years, she has slowly chipped away at the National Cross, and she was 9th in 2018. She was 41st in Leeds in 2019. 21st at Wallerton Park in 2020. Last year, 13th. This year, she's only been inside the top 10 once before. It can happen on the day, and she was sublime.
See Lauren Hayes there from Hallamshire as well. Just congratulating her teammate. There's a few Hallamshire athletes across the line, but I've seen a flurry of Aldershot athletes across the line as well. Neve Brown, Kate Esley, Louise Small, Lauren Hall, all gathering in the corner there.
Well, superb running from all the athletes. A word on Gemma Steele as well, to come back here and take a silver medal in fine fashion. So close, that bump, okay, out, but she did well to close the gap in the end. Aston just had a bit extra.
Yeah, and it's just great to see her back throughout this season, not just coming back to racing, but also contending for these titles. It's difficult making a comeback, but especially when some people may have put you on the shelf and decided that you've had your time. Gemma Steele's back to say, no, I'm still going to make a go of this and challenge for the win.
I love it, inspiring. I'm going to get out and run tonight just because I've seen Gemma Steele here today. Well, I'm out of breath. Next up on the course, we have the junior men, our penultimate race. That goes in around about 12 minutes time. The 75th Junior Men's Championships. The National Cross just keeps giving and giving, and we'll have more of that to come for you in around 10 minutes time.